So the most common question I get from people that watch my videos or read my blog on my website is whether or not they need a license of some sort or certification or to go through the government to be able to sell microgreens. Now, the best answer I can give you on that is I don't know. It depends on where you are. It depends on your state. So, my state, for example, I did a lot of research on the Department of Agriculture. So, everybody should do that. Definitely do a Google search, put in your state, Department of Agriculture, click the website, and read it. When I read mine, there was almost nothing on there about produce. There were things on there the state was concerned about, which is things like honey, maple syrup, the use of fertilizers, things like that. Sell poultry, eggs, dairy. There's certain things that the state is pretty concerned about, and for good reason. When it came to produce, I couldn't find hardly anything. So that's the best answer I can give you. There are some certification programs that you can take, and sometimes it's voluntary and sometimes it's not. One is called the GAP program, which stands for Good Agricultural Practices. That's probably the most common certification that people get as a small farmer. And what that is that's a program where they can inspect your operation. They're going to want to make sure that you have, proper refrigeration. They're going to want to make sure you have a nice washing station. They're going to want to make sure you're keeping your area clean, that you're cleaning your trays, you're sanitizing things, you're not using rusty old knives to harvest with. They want to make sure you're cleaning them every time. Things like that. Might go into a little bit of packaging and stuff. It's a voluntary program. A lot of farmers markets actually will require that you have that. Not a big deal. They're just looking out for the consumer. They want to make sure they have a good operation. So, really, you have to look up all this yourself. In my case, when I started my business, the first thing I did is I registered with the state as a business, got my trademark name, Brabant Farms, and that made me a legal business. Then I did a lot of research. I found out that if you're grossing less than $20,000 a year in my state, you're pretty much exempt from almost everything. They're not really that concerned about the little guy. And if you make more than that, then there's a couple things you can do. As far as a license to sell to a restaurant or a store or whatever, I haven't found one. There might be one in your state, but in my state, somebody will probably chime in and let me know, but I don't know of one. I've never had a restaurant tell me, show me your license that's legal for you to sell me this product. They're just happy to get my product. So I wish I had better advice. I'm not a legal expert. I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you that sometimes if you're just starting out, it is easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. If you're doing something you're not allowed to do, somebody's going to tell you, and you're going to have a chance to correct your action. So, that's it. I wish I had better answers for you. Another big one to do would be get insurance. There's a program, it's called Flip, which is an insurance company for, they do a lot of food vending, people like me that sell microgreens, and for $300, they'll give you a policy that can do $1 million per incident and up to 2 incidences of a lifetime. That in itself should tell you something. They're willing to insure you for $300 a year with a pretty good large sum of money that they'll back it up by. And the reason for that is that there's not much risk. They're not really that concerned because produce, for the most part, is not very dangerous. We've all heard the horror stories of, like a contaminated batch of lettuce from some fields that were maybe getting fertilized by the workers or whatever, in a different way, and it's not sanitary, it's not safe, and so we've heard of these stories, but they're not common. It doesn't happen that often. And when it does happen, it's usually as a large scale. It can happen to the little guy, but as long as you're following good practices like you would in your own kitchen, you know, treat the food in a safe way like you would if you were eating it yourself. And if you're not a big company, there's really not a lot for you to have to worry about. You'll find out. But definitely check with your state. Definitely research the Department of Agriculture. Find out what rules apply to you. I don't know what they are. I'm sorry I don't have better answers for you guys. I wish I did. My next video will be back to microgreens, my experiment with some fava bean, and some of the other things I was doing. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you at least learned something here or can take something away from this. I can't really give solid advice because it's about legal matters and I don't really know them all. But if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. Keep watching all my videos. Enjoy having you guys around. Comment. Always ask me questions. I'll always answer them the best I can. Thanks for watching. Bye.